What is the dumbest rule at your job? I'm not allowed to contact mall security or the police without district manager approval. I could have been just robbed at gunpoint in my store. My first call is supposed to be my DM to tell them I got robbed and can I pretty please call the police? I would sue the dang company if I got fired for calling the cops if I got robbed. I can't see a judge siding against you. I'm a librarian. If somebody asks me where anything is, I have to redirect them to the front desk, no matter what. Example of how this is done. Where's the bathroom? I'm pretty sure the front desk can help you with that. Well, today I got sent home for wearing the new uniform I was just issued and told to change back into the old one. I guess they haven't officially started the new uniform yet. The thing is, I'm the only security guard at an empty building with no one at it to even see me. All I did was trade a grey shirt for a white one. All the markings are the same. Seems pointless to me. If 2 snacks fall from the vending machine, we have to turn in the extra one or it's considered stealing company property. Had a manager follow me to the front desk to turn in some cookies last week. I work for a very superstitious Korean man. The rules are no red pens, no shaking your legs and no whistling after the sun goes down. These aren't official rules, but he gets very serious about these things and doesn't allow joking about ghosts or supernatural. Worked at a Korean airline. One day we were given tags for our new crew bags. One guy gets out his red Sharpie and starts to write his name. The instructor grabs the tags and gets the pilot some new tags and told us not to write our names in red ink. No Korean pilot would fly with us if our bag tags had our names written in red ink. A long time ago I worked at a Navy shipyard. There were 2 rules, first aid kits at each work site. The OSHA type part of the organization had a rule that each work site had to have a first aid kit. The org that ran the workmen's comp stuff had a rule that first aid kits were prohibited at work sites. Any injury had to go to the industrial dispensary to establish a paper trail. Work site supervisors were screwed if they had a first aid kit. They were screwed if they didn't have one. The shipyard commander, a 4-striper, called the heads of each organization into his conference room. He told them, when you 2 come to an agreement about first aid kits, call my office. I will have the marine at the door let you out. I'm tired of hearing about freaking first aid kits. No first aid kit on site is the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. Jesus Christ. Please tell me you guys have the kits. If the microwave and printer run at the same time, it trips a breaker that only property management can reset. So whenever anyone microwaves something they have to yell microwave so nobody prints. I mean, that's not that dumb of a rule. It's stupid that your company has that problem and it should be fixed, but it sounds necessary in that situation, albeit funny. We are not allowed to refer to the Xerox machine as Bob Marley anymore, even though it still jams way more than it Xeroxes. This is because apparently the CEO had tween daughter come one day and she got very upset when she thought the staff were keeping her from seeing Bob Marley in real life. She did not know that Bob Marley is dead. This made the CEO got stressed out and yell at us about the nickname. That is a freaking hilarious nickname. In our small hospital department, there's an oxygen line W, a giant on-off valve that only affects our small department. If there's a fire, I can't turn the valve to close it. I have to call the nursing supervisor, who is off-site, to come down to the fire and turn it off for me. I'd say in the event of an emergency, break the rule and take your chances. I am not familiar enough with the rules of my job to choose the dumbest one, but at my old job, if a customer purchased something, then made it to the door with merchandise he or she didn't pay for, the cashier that rang them up was held accountable for it. We can expense Starbucks, but not food from Starbucks, because one guy was living off of Starbucks food for 3 months. Worst part was that he was an extremely well-paid engineer, but frugal as frick. There's always some guy who ruins it for everybody. Because of some new shoots we got working who don't understand the concept of not using a phone when there is work to be done, everyone has to put their cell phone in a bucket at 6 PM, or whenever the evening rush starts. Frick you, Kerrigan. We're not technically allowed to talk about our salaries with each other, even though the amount we each individually make is a matter of public record. That means that if you get a promotion, you have to either file a public records request to find out what your peers are making, and therefore pee off your new boss, or you have to violate the directive. It makes it pretty darn hard for an employee to negotiate. I'm entrusted with the care of mentally handicapped clients, including being trained in first aid, CPR, and the Heimlich maneuver, but apparently changing a light bulb or adjusting the thermostat in the group home where I work is too big a responsibility for me to be allowed to do. My last manager, global company, tried to tell us that if she saw us at each other's desks discussing non-work related things, we had to keep track of those minutes and take them as vacation. She didn't last long. Ha 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 ha. Women aren't allowed to lift anything, literally anything. I was going to dump a trash can full of shredded paper in the dumpster last week and my boss caught me, made me put the trash can down, and go find someone to dump it for me. I was literally lifting the thing with one hand. As my job requires a lot of lifting and I hate asking for help constantly, I have mastered the art of picking up 50+ lb boxes and running with them so no one catches me. Pretty sure that's sexism and you can sue for that and discrimination, especially if you have proof that they only allow the men to do it. Do not throw any personal items in company dumpsters or waste receptacles. All items to be discarded must be taken home. You cannot leave 250 miles of the area without getting your request to leave said area approved. And you have to take lots of online and in-person classes on how to be safe, not to beat your wife, not to drink and drive, and how to not be stressed out, and wear a reflective belt everywhere. I work construction. We're not allowed to tell the new guys how many newbies died in their first week. Young guys don't naturally think about safety. They think they'll live forever. Your gravity doesn't give a crap what you think. Stay away from the ledges and open elevator shafts. Let me explain. 1. When we say guys die in their first week, we really mean they die before they know the risks of the job. The time frame isn't always a week from when they start. 2. The company I work for are huge. We have 20,000 employees working at over 65 main sites. Much of that is at industrial sites in the oil gas field. The work is dangerous. 3. Safety is a huge priority for the company. You won't stay employed if you don't take safety seriously. 4. Everyone that starts is told of all the dangers of the job. We don't hide that from them. 5. The boss doesn't want us mentioning the deaths because it brings back a lot of bad memories for the guys who were there. And the new guys usually think we're either making crap up, trying to scare them, or they just don't care. So it doesn't really make them think of act in a safe manner. I think they should know. 6. Just because we don't specifically talk about the deaths doesn't mean we don't talk about previous accidents and safety issues. We do, in detail. 7. Construction is freaking dangerous. Most newbies just don't get that. 8. If and when someone dies or is seriously hurt, all work is stopped. At 20,000 and of us stop working. We all, in our teams, go over what happened, what could be done to prevent it, and if safety procedures weren't followed, we go over what the procedure is and why following it would have prevented the accident. 9. With all that in place, it doesn't matter. Crap keeps happening. It's bad. It's the worst part of the job, and it can really frick with your mind. 10. No one who runs a team gets to that point without proving they know their crap, proving that they work in a safe manner, and more importantly that they look out for the guys girls who work with them. At the daycare where I used to work, 1. Eat the same food as the kids during meal times to promote healthy habits and model good table manners. 2. Do not serve yourself until all of the children are served and have had as many servings as they'd like. 3. Do not eat when the children are not eating. 4. Do not eat unless the children are finished. 5. Mealtimes require staff to be actively serving the children and regulating behavior. They are not a staff lunch break. So basically we have to eat their food, but can't eat their food, but can't pack a lunch because we aren't allowed to eat different food but we can't eat the prepared food. And there was no fixed menu so we could fudge similar enough food from home to share. And we have to eat when they eat but we can't be eating while they're eating because we have to do our job and we can't take it in shifts because we have the minimum staff to child ratio in rooms at all times to avoid waste. 99% of us just ate whatever the frick we wanted during nap time if all the kids were asleep or the awake ones got soothed in shifts so we could eat. The other 1% didn't work over meals or just ate whatever. Do not eat when the children are not eating. Do not eat unless the children are finished. What? Supervisors aren't allowed to have any unnecessary contact with employees under them outside of work. This wouldn't be that idiocy if it weren't for the fact that the supervisors are just other teenagers that got conned into taking on a bunch more work for a 0.50 raise. My brother works at a certain restaurant redneck gift store with old time candy, and their rule is absolutely 100% no outside of work contact between a manager and an employee. If they find out you talk to each other, go out for a beer, Facebook friend each other, anything, both parties are immediately terminated, the manager and the hourly. You can finish your work on time. You can log in and log out on time. No one cares. The ones who get praise are people who work late. And why do they work late? Because they can't finish the work on time. But it's fine. Bob is working late and taking up so much load for company. No frick you. Bob is working late because he can't fix a single line error for 4 fricking days. Bob knows exactly where that line error is. My dad is a flight nurse. He has a flight suit that he carries anything he could possibly need while transporting a patient. One day he came home all pee off. I carry all kinds of needles and drugs that can paralyze someone, but they won't allow me to have my moolie tool on me because it has a knife blade over 3 inches long. We train young men to drop fire on people, but their commanders won't allow them to write frick on their airplanes because it's obscene. Colonel Kurtz. Our safety protocol states that if there is a fire and there are wheelchair-bound students or employees on the 2nd floor, we are to leave them at the top of the stairs for the firefighters and emergency personnel to help once they arrive. So, basically they get to burn to death. I work in a small programming company. We haven't set up any kind of version control yet, so to avoid overwriting other people's changes to packages and scripts, we have an item associated with each file. If you want to edit a file, you need to go to the person with that item and ask if they're done editing the file. If yes, you take the item, so the next person has to ask you. Thing is, these items are just whatever we had in the office at the time. Chart package is associated with a foot tall clay zombie gnome. Filter package is a pair of 3D glasses, which some people insist on wearing when editing that file. Those are the strangest too. We also have a few Kinder Egg toys and an empty bottle of Jack Daniels. We haven't set up any kind of version control yet. That would take you, literally, 10 minutes, tops. I worked somewhere that had a separate code for different parts of the building. Quite a few got locked in the stairwell without knowing. Not my current job, but at my old chain restaurant job we weren't allowed to give cups with bottles of soda. They had to purchase soft drink cups to have cups for their 2-liter, and it was ridiculous. I would promptly ask for a refund and leave, never to return. Here goes. So I work in a warehouse school that doubles as a program that employs mentally challenged people. It has a scared straight program for juvenile delinquents, and we also take prisoners from a work release program. I am a support worker, which means I am a normal, adult worker whose job is to keep production afloat. For one, we can't have knives in a warehouse where 90% of the jobs we do require a knife. Too many kids, prisoners, mentally ill people stabbing each other. We can't change the station to oldies because the subject matter is too suggestive. We can only talk about 3 subjects: sports, news, and the weather. If someone hugs you, protocol is to stand still. Do not hug back. Do not push away and wait for a teacher to pull the kid off of you. Here's some things us support workers have done and weren't fired for. Doing H in the bathroom. Doing H in a car. Doing H in someone else's car and then doing the owner of the car in broad daylight when the special kids are around. Getting fingered by a married co-worker outside of the office window and moaning loud enough for everyone to hear. Pulling 2 no-call, no-shows every week for a year. Me. Showing up s-faced drunk. Sometimes me. Smoking a blunt in the front parking lot. Half the workers get stoned on lunch break and the supervisor is fine with it. The assistant supervisor joins in. Giving a kid a cigarette. Me. Telling a kid to step back a few feet cause I can smell the dong on your breath. Dating a high school kid. The list goes on. Bonus story. We had a 300+ LB woman who wrote down H as her only past work experience on her application. She was hired, but left in the middle of her first day to see a John. Sister is a cheerleader for a professional sports team. They aren't allowed to talk to any of the players at all. If they have any interactions with them, they are fired immediately. Sucks cause I really want my sister to have Kevin Durant's babies. I think that's what they're trying to avoid. No hoodies. Jeans and tennis shoes are okay, but hoodies is where they draw the line. Just seems silly for an office with almost no dress code to be adamant about their employees not wearing hoodies even if it's raining. Except on Friday. Friday hoodies are okay. We're only allowed to use the bathroom in the employee break area. At least a good 3-minute walk from my workstation. Sometimes more if I'm a few floors up. I guess they're worried that a patron might be offended by pee next to us? I don't know. Oh my god. One of the employees pee next to me. This company's employees have to pee like everyone else. I'm not coming back to this place. Can't take lunch meals home. I totally have the right to decide when and where I put my food in my mouth. Total balls. I worked at a place like that. One free meal was a benefit, except you couldn't take it home, and you couldn't eat it on site because customers might see you. 100% proofing policy for alcohol purchases. It's not really stupid. It is just more of a nuisance for customers, and customers aren't afraid to let you know how they feel about being carded. But it isn't the store's rules or fault. We only have a restaurant liquor license, so we are obligated to card every single person to basically cover our asses. I'm not required to be at work on Fridays, but if I want to go out of town on a Friday I have to fill out a leave form and they will dock my pay. I'm salaried. That sound illegal. No employer can tell you where you can and can't go on your days off. Also, docking your pay for not showing up on a day you don't need to is also shady AF. I used to work at a company that was sponsored by Evian, and we would have 3 massive fridges with free bottled water that was restocked daily and never ran out. To make you drink it, our company cut the taps in the kitchen sink so you had no other choice but to drink it. Fine. But then our boss decided that one bottle, 330 ml, was the new limit of how much free water you could have. Imagine working in the summer and being told you're not allowed to have any water. It was especially mean as it was free for the company. I'm a web developer and every single part of the job can be done from home. However, we have to come into the office to work. I only have one meeting a week and it's just a conference call. Myself and my boss are the only 2 people in the office on the web team. The rest are in a city that's 2 states away. So it's not like I have to come into the office to collaborate with the team in person. Doesn't make sense. But I've only been there for a month, so I can't really question it yet. We aren't allowed to drink water. We are cashiers at a grocery store, and even on the summer's hottest days we are expected to go 3-4 hours without anything to drink. Now I'm a rebel, so I do it anyway because it's necessary for survival and crap, and most of my supervisors won't give me flack. But it's still there, and certain people will make a big deal of it. Hardware requirements. All laptops must have a camera and a microphone. Security requirements. Laptops with cameras and microphones must have them disabled. I teach 4th graders. We have a rule that we can only get 6 reams of paper to make copies per quarter. 9 weeks. I go through those in about 3 weeks and end up buying a crap load of paper. Trust me, I try to make less copies, but for some things I can't. Then our principal says that we must ask kids to donate at least 1 ream each so that I have paper for the year. We can fund wars, but I can't get paper? WTF. Like most school districts, while you are buying your own paper, I'm sure it's overloaded with superintendents and management making bank. Then they beg for more tax dollars for the children. Teachers are one of the most important resources we have. They are with kids sometimes much more than the parents are. They should be taken better care of. If one other person has booked off any time, no one can book off time for that same day or days. The entire summer since the beginning of May, the 22nd of August has been fully booked off by only a few people. One guy was given a month and a half off. I was refused 3 days of vacation that I tried to book off 4 months in advance because of this. They don't want us wearing NPS work t-shirts. Instead they want us to wear the NPS work uniform shirts that are heavy and constricting. So when you're a laborer and you're bending over and picking crap up and needing to move freely so you can do your job effectively and comfortably, they don't really want us to wear the t-shirt for some reason. But we say frick it and wear it anyways. Jack in the Box. From the time the car pulled up to the speaker at the drive-thru we were supposed to get them done in under 4 minutes. Now this might not sound that bad but customers would always take forever to figure out what the heck they wanted, even though we had a preview board, and they would order their longest cook time item last. I'll have 2 tacos, 30 seconds to make, and a spicy chicken sandwich. The patty had to be fried for 3 minutes. We also weren't allowed to part people. We broke that rule a few times though, once for some butthole who ordered 100 tacos and 52 junior bacon cheeseburgers. I'd just like to add to the discussion that if anyone is having you work in unsafe conditions it's your right to call OSHA and make an anonymous tip. OSHA will make a surprise visit to your place of work and assess if anything is dangerous. If the employer is in fact breaking the law they'll be fined up the butt. You should never have to take a risk with your safety. Oh, that could save their life? Well, sorry, you can't do that until the ambulance that's 15 minutes away gets there. Oh, they got maybe 5 without your intervention? Too bad. Guess you better grab the Eid. If you don't participate on after work pub on Fridays, then you will get a smaller raise. Participation accounts for 25% of our yearly raise. There was a hugging ban at my old job. Apparently one of the customers saw 2 employees hugging once and felt sexually harassed. I left that job pretty quickly after that. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.